Intergulf Corporation is an industrial liquids management company specializing in procuring, blending, treating, and processing petroleum, petrochemical co-products, and waste streams. Strategically located along the Houston Ship Channel, Intergulf is actively involved in the petrochemical community and understands the dynamics involved in this sensitive, highly regulated arena. Intergulf operates in 5 business segments: waste and recycle, petroleum products, marine services, distillation, and transportation. This program is an overview of the rules and procedures you'll need to know while you're visiting Intergulf. Safety is important to you, the company, and to our employees. At Intergulf, we believe that every job can be performed safely and that everyone is responsible for safety. All visitors and drivers are required to sign in and out at the front office when entering and exiting the plant, so everyone who's present in the facility can be accounted for in the event of an emergency. Unless otherwise permitted by an officer of the company, only Intergulf employees and approved contractors are allowed to enter the plant. You'll be provided with a badge that must be displayed at all times while you're here. You'll receive further entry instructions from the receptionist or the dispatcher. There's a constant flow of traffic through the plant, and the main entrance can be congested. This is a shared roadway for trucks and vehicles entering and exiting the plant, as well as trucks that are parked for unloading. It's also an area where pedestrians, including plant personnel and drivers, are present. Use extreme caution. Be courteous and be in strict compliance with the 5-mile-per-hour speed limit here and in all areas of the plant. Everyone riding in a vehicle must wear a seatbelt if the vehicle is designed with seatbelts. This includes forklifts and golf carts. Vehicle traffic in the plant has the right-of-way. Pedestrians are responsible for yielding the right-of-way to vehicle traffic. Make eye contact with the vehicle operator before you attempt to take the right-of-way. Drivers should use extreme caution as they turn their trucks around inside the plant. You'll be turning in a small area where other vehicle traffic is present. When walking in the plant, walk on the side of the roadway. Prevent slips, trips, and falls by being aware of wet, slippery, or uneven walking surfaces in the plant. Use ladders, ramps, and paths intended for safe travel. Do not take shortcuts. When you walk up or down stairs, always hold the handrail. In the event you slip or trip, you'll have the handrails to prevent a fall. Because the marine facility is adjacent to an intercoastal waterway, security at the marine terminal must adhere to the regulations of the Maritime Security Act, or MTSA. Entry to the Intergulf Marine Facility is restricted. You're required to be a TWIC cardholder or must be escorted by a TWIC cardholder to enter the marine facility. Coast Guard approved life vests are required to be worn by everyone as soon as you step on the dock. Life vests are required to be worn at all times by everyone who's on a barge. As a minimum, anyone who enters the plant is required to wear a hard hat, safety glasses, and steel-toed shoes. Athletic shoes, high heels, or any shoe that exposes any portion of the foot is prohibited. Hearing protection is optional and is recommended in high-noise areas. Jewelry, including rings, is not permitted to be worn while in the plant. Long-sleeved coveralls made of Nomex or fire-retardant shirts and pants are required to be worn as the outermost layer of clothing in all areas of the plant. Don't wear torn or loose-fitting clothing that can get caught in moving machinery. Ponytail or otherwise exceptionally long hair is to be worn in such a manner that it will not interfere with the tasks being performed. Wear gloves appropriate for the task you perform in order to protect your hands. Use chemical-resistant gloves when working with chemicals or chemically treated materials. If your job calls for handling rough or sharp parts, wear proper hand protection. But don't wear gloves when you're using saws or other rotating equipment, as gloves can get caught in the moving parts and pull your entire hand into the machine. Appropriate PPE is required when working in an area where chemical exposure is possible. This includes eye, face, and hand protection. Chemicals are only to be handled by employees who've been trained and authorized. A respirator is required when hooking trailer hoses up or when the possibility of exposure to harmful chemicals exists. Additional PPE, including slicker suits, gloves, and boots, are required during acid transfer. Eye wash stations and safety showers are located in areas of the plant where exposure to harmful chemicals is possible. You should familiarize yourself with the location of this and other safety equipment so you're prepared in the event of exposure. First aid supplies and trained personnel are present and available to provide medical care in the event of an injury or illness. All accidents, near misses, and injuries must be reported to your Intergulf host immediately. Smoking is allowed in designated areas inside the plant. Smoking areas are identified with a smoking sign and a cigarette receptacle. The use or possession of prohibited drugs or alcohol is forbidden on Intergulf property. Firearms and weapons shall not be permitted on company property. Horseplay, fighting, or any other unsafe acts will not be tolerated. A clean work area is essential to everyone's safety. Therefore, it's an expectation of everyone in the plant that all work areas be kept clean and orderly. Operation of cellular phones is only permitted when using a hands-free device, such as Bluetooth. Cell phone use is not permitted in restricted areas, even with a hands-free device. These restricted areas are marked by signs. Please observe and obey all danger and caution signs, warnings, and labels. Be aware of hot surfaces, grease, and other liquids, as they can cause serious burns. It's important to maintain clear and easy access to all firefighting and safety equipment at all times. All electrical panels, transformers, or switchgear must have clear access, and that means nothing within 3 feet above, behind, or on the sides or front. Compressed gas cylinders must be secured in an upright position at all times, protected from falling and grouped by type of gas. Cylinders must be labeled as to contents. Safety caps must be in place unless a regulator is attached. Intergulf uses a fall restraint system specifically designed to protect you from falls. No one is allowed to get on their truck without being tied off to the fall restraint system. There are no exceptions to this rule. Even if your truck is equipped with a catwalk, you're still required to hook up to the fall restraint system provided by Intergulf. A 100% tie-off is required at all times. The Intergulf work permitting system requires a safe work permit issued by Intergulf authorized personnel for all tasks with identifiable risks. This includes tasks such as confined space entry, hot work, lockout tagout, and fall protection. Prior to entry into a confined space, an Intergulf operator will perform the initial lockout, perform atmospheric testing, and issue the confined space entry permit. All persons involved in confined space entry must be properly trained and equipped, and there must be an attendant at the entrance. The attendant is never to enter the space or attempt a rescue. The attendant is responsible for summoning trained personnel if a rescue is needed. A hot work permit is required for each work area prior to any cutting, welding, or the use of open flame or spark-producing equipment. The contractor is responsible for furnishing all safety equipment needed for such work, including welding shields, fire extinguishers, and fire watch requirements. Whenever work on any equipment or system cannot be conducted safely while the source of power is energized, that source must be locked out. An Intergulf authorized employee is responsible for isolating the equipment, ensuring that all energy is at a zero energy state, and issuing the permit. Once this is done, contractors can place their personal lock on the lockout point and begin work. No one is permitted to place or remove a lock for another person. The rule is one person, one lock. Lock boxes are permitted to be used when group lockout is being performed. All jobs that require personnel to work 6 feet or more off the ground and outside an area protected by handrails, or require access by means other than permanent ladders or stairs, will require fall protection devices. An approved fall protection device includes a body harness and shock-absorbing lanyard equipped with double locking hooks. All personnel required to use fall restraint systems must receive proper training prior to using the equipment. For your safety, never walk or work beneath a suspended load. Cones are used as a warning that possible hazards may be present in a specific area. The use of cones in the plant is task-specific. Barricade tape is used to indicate hazardous conditions during maintenance and construction. Do not cross into an area that has been barricaded unless you're authorized to do so. Emergency evacuation routes and assembly areas are posted in the facility. Exits in the plant are clearly marked with illuminated signs. All emergency exits must be clear of debris, allowing clear access to exit the area. Any emergency that occurs inside the plant will be communicated to personnel by plant radio on Channel 1. If an emergency situation arises, shut down the task you're performing, if it can be done safely, and follow an Intergulf employee to the nearest safe assembly area for a head count. Stay in the assembly area until you're instructed to leave by Intergulf personnel. All containers of chemicals and storage tanks are labeled or tagged noting the contents as per the requirements of the Hazard Communications Standard. Material Safety Data Sheets, or MSDS, are available for each chemical or hazardous material used or stored in the plant. MSDS are available electronically in each department, and a hard copy can also be found in the lab. MSDS contain information concerning immediate first aid instructions, product spillage, and proper handling. Tell your host if you'd like to review any MSDS. Hydrogen sulfide is a highly toxic and flammable gas. Although very pungent at first, it quickly deadens the sense of smell, so potential victims may be unaware of its presence until it's too late. Everyone in process areas of the plant is required to have an H2S monitor on their person at all times. Put the monitor on the outermost article of clothing as close as possible to the nasal passages. To verify that the unit is operational, push the button one time. If the monitor alarm activates, leave the area immediately. Check the windsocks to determine wind direction and move across and upwind of the affected area until the alarm stops. This completes your safety orientation. If you have any questions or need assistance, any Intergulf employee will help you. Also, safety team members can be identified by their red hard hats. Use common sense and think about safety in everything you do. After all, safety is everyone's responsibility.